You have questions, we have answers. This is Jane Muller.
And this is Ken Muller. Welcome to our show all about real estate with Ken and Jane. Well, Jane, we're a few days away from Halloween.
Ooh.
So, you know what Halloween entails? Creepy, spooky things. So
I'm thinking about the chocolate.
Not candy. No. Well, it's that too.
I'm thinking about the chocolate.
We're going to talk about the spirit of Halloween, and we're going to combine that with houses. And so the listeners can probably figure out when we're talking about spirits and we talk about houses, how do we combine them intelligently? We talk about haunted houses. And we are going to explore, again, this is from my online research from different articles, courtesy of different New Jersey newspapers. I found all this online. We're going to talk about notable haunted houses in New Jersey, and you're going to relay some of your personal experiences with
I can't wait for that.
Paranormal or ghosts, as we commonly say.
Yes.
Okay, so the first one we have is the famous Strauss Bayshore Mansion. This is located in Atlantic Highlands. It was in 1893. The wealthy Strauss family, the husband and wife, purchased the home. It's a 21-room Victorian and style mansion. It overlooks the water. They bought it in 1893. They used it as their summer home. But unfortunately, by the early 1900s, the Strauss family passed away, and the house went through, I think, a total of 14 different owners until by 1970s or somewhere in the 1970s, the house fell into disrepair, and it was condemned in 1981 and purchased by the Atlantic Highlands Historic Society. So what they did is they did some restoration work. And actually, just before that, a low-budget horror movie was filmed there in 1979 called Don't Go in the House. Wow. So maybe that was a premonition of what was to come. So what is the ghost sightings there? Well, in 2014, a board member who's on the Historical Society reported seeing an apparition pass across the second floor window. In 2021, which is not that long ago,
wow.
A security video reported a male voice clearly yelling, "Get out," at some visitors, although no guests have reportedly heard it. So that was another very interesting thing.
During the daytime, huh? You would think that would happen.
I don't know if it was
at
day or
nighttime.
nighttime, but still it was something. So there's been unexplained instances. There was one of the members said there's a very famous book there titled The Victoria Book of Opera that was apparently opened. Apparently, at one point, it was sitting on the shelf, tucked away, and then at another later stage, the book was opened to a particular page on the bookshelf. So that's kind of interesting. There have been other stories of piano keys playing with nobody in sight. Voices on videos, and then somebody seeing another. So this prompted them to get the Ghostbusters in there. Actually, they hired a paranormal investigation company. They went in with their instruments, their meters, whatever they used to detect it, and they confirmed, according to their instrumentation, that there is higher than normal levels of paranormal activity as soon as they put their instruments in the house, and they detected 3 spots that were the hot spots. Does it prove it's haunted? Not necessarily, but there were these sightings, whether you want to believe that they're stories or real sightings. That's for every individual to believe. But again, the paranormal thing, and it's not scientific, but their instrumentation, they didn't say what they use, but I did some research on paranormal machines. They can use EMF meters, they can use video things, they can use night goggles. Whatever instrumentation they use reported a higher than normal paranormal activity. I guess their gauges were going, higher than what they normally do when they go into. So they felt some energy in the house.
Ken, as a Chinese background, right? I mean, in our culture, if things like this happen, they would ask a monk. Monks come to pray to guide the spirit going to heaven to the right channel, because we believe they're stuck somewhere, and either willingly or unwillingly. So the higher spirit, by prayer or the monk praying and the ceremony, they kind of help them, guide them to go to the next place.
Right. And there's an interesting thing too. I read when I was doing my research that there's a common perception that all ghosts are resulting from a bad or violent event, but that's not necessarily the case. There's certain cases where there's in another sighting, another house, where there's a benevolent spirit from somebody who was very attached to the unit. That's so a friendly ghost, in other words. So it can be the ghost can be from somebody who had a murder or a violent event happen, or it could be a friendly spirit that's there because they love the place or had fond memories and feel an attachment to the unit.
I will share experience later on about that. Yes, which is a happy one.
Yeah. And then there's a Gallup poll. So what percentage of people do you think in this country believe in ghosts? Or based on, there was a Gallup poll done back in the early
I'm not
2000s.
sure. I believe so. Maybe 50%.
Oh, that's not a bad guess. They said 1 out of 3, one third of the people surveyed said they believe in some type of ghosts.
Ghosts,
in the potential. So
yeah, I mean, I personally, I mean, as you just mentioned, right? I mean, I did had one episode, and which is I was involved, right? Many years ago, I was representing a seller selling a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath house. There was a lady, her son already graduated from college and moved on to his life. So she told me the house is too big, which is true. 3-bedroom, 2-car garage, 2.5 baths is really big. So she wants to travel a lot. So she wants to move to, one level, the bedroom and much more suitable to her lifestyle, which is all reasonable, which is all common, right? I mean, so I represent them, put on the market. We sold very quickly. It's a young family with the children and make the contract and everything. We in attorney review, as everybody heard our show knows, during the attorney review, the home is still available. Anyone can see the house, and if they can make an offer, if the offer better or in terms or in the number, the seller can cancel the one and go for a new offer. So during that time, I got a phone call. Lady said she wanted to see the house. And I told her, I said, I just want to, sure, no problem. We'll show you the house. But I just want to be honest with you. We're in a attorney review. I don't want to waste your time. But if you're interested, I have no issue to show you. She said, yeah, absolutely, no problem. So we couldn't show the place. When we were in the second floor in the hallway, and she suddenly, the buyer just asked me, say, why does the seller want to sell the house? So I said, she wanted downsizing. And at that time, she said, yeah, of course, she's by herself. Her husband passed away. I look at her. I said, how do you know? I was really, surprised. And she said something even more scary. Right? She said, oh, he's behind you. And at the moment my back hair stood up, I stopped talking. I said, okay, let's get out of here. So I quickly to lead them outside in the parking lot, because I figured if I talk in the parking lot, the spirit cannot hear us. That's what I would think, hoping, right?
You can evade the spirit.
Yeah, we went to the parking lot. I said, oh my God, what happened? And she said, no, nothing to worry about. And he really cared for her. They've been married many years. He really, really loved her. And he just want to make sure she's all right. So he's here. I said, oh my God. I said, the buyers of young family have a kids. Is that okay? Is the house haunted? They said, no, the house is not haunted. He's very friendly. He just stay here because love and care.
But the question is, when she moves, will he go?
I did ask.
Now, if I was a buyer, I'd want to know that.
No. I did ask.
Will vacate at the
I
time
did ask
the
that question,
moves,
Ken.
right.
For the buyer's sake, I didn't represent the buyer, but for the buyer's sake, I said, is he going to stay once she move out? Yeah. And she said, no, he's going to leave. He's going to leave. So I said, oh, thank God for that. Thank God for that. Well, but that's truly, believe or not, it's up to you. You ask me, I'm 100% believe the story. I don't know. I can't say I do or I don't. But truly, she would say she know he passed away and he's behind me without any signs, because how does the visitor know he passed away? There could be a divorce case, if you can look up the deed. If it's one person name, you could be divorced. Could be sometimes the husband in a certain position they don't want name on the deed. They all put in the wife's deed, right? That's happened. So it's no way. For her to find out. Plus, it's no benefit to her. She's not asking anything else, right? Or research that. No, she just happily can see. So she can see. Yeah, that's what her job actually later on.
That was accurate. Apparently, that was accurate. That she detected that the person was deceased, the husband, and then the wife was. And
yep.
Wow.
Yeah, but that was friendly. That was very friendly because when I went to that house, I never feel anything different. I just feel this loving, warming home. 3-bedroom, beautifully updated, beautiful home. So, I mean, no negative feelings, as you just mentioned, right? It could be friendly, could be, because the person really care, the people who are here. So. Yep.
Okay. Let's go on to another famous New Jersey house that yours didn't make make the cut, but this is a famous one known as the Spy House and the Seabrook House. This is located in Monmouth County. I think it's Port Monmouth, New Jersey. During the Revolutionary War, the house was used as a spy outpost by the British Army, and apparently there was a Captain Morgan that utilized the place. And the story has it that he was killed in the basement by his soldiers. I guess I don't know the particulars as to why, but apparently maybe there was some disagreement and they murdered him. And then through the after the war, the spy house was passed down through various families until around the 1800s. The house was purchased by the Seabrook family, who lived in the house for several decades, and apparently they were very, very much into the supernatural. And the story has it that they're the ones who started the ghost stories, which we're going to cover. So, and I should say this was online by the New Jersey Digest, the article. It was so.
See, somebody already calling you.
See, we can't even.
The ghost is calling you.
Maybe the ghost didn't want me to speak on the air about it, so we better don't answer that phone. You may hear somebody on the other line.
From the other side.
What are the chances that this is the first time in about 85 episodes when we first started talking about ghosts? This is the one we get a paranormal effect in the studio where the ghost is answering us.
Oh, see? So, I try to hang it up. It doesn't happen. It doesn't stop. You see? I can't even stop it.
You can't stop it. That's so we have the So here we go. So you want to answer the phone and see if
I'm not gonna answer it.
On the line.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So we've had a few different ghost stories associated with the Seabrook House. One again is Captain Morgan. There have been various guests that have reported. There have been various guests that have reported seeing his ghost in the basement and throughout the house. Another famous story from this house is the lady ghost. There's apparently there's a lady that's said to be the ghost of a woman who lived there in the 18th century, who resided there, and she's apparently been seen wandering the halls, but is said to be a benevolent spirit, a happy ghost, but she's been seen around. And then there's also the situation of a ghostly dog. So if you believe in the human ghost, you can have the dog ghost, and this dog was the owner who apparently died in the house, and I guess the dog is attached to the house or this grounds and hasn't. That his spirit, the dog spirit, hasn't lifted either.
Once again, in Asian background, we believe in the animal has a soul too. I mean, maybe they did something previous life, either at their will or not their will, they become a animal. So that's really, I mean, if there's a nice life, I have to be an animal. I want to be a dolphin.
Yeah.
So that's or eagle, to be free.
Free spirit.
So
all right.
Free.
Great. All right, we're going to take a short break, and we'll continue the ghost stories right after these messages. Okay, welcome back to our show. We're talking about haunted houses in New Jersey from the documented cases and from some of our own personal experiences. So to finish up with the Spy House, it was purchased by the Monmouth County Historical Society in 1956. And is now open to the public as a museum and for tours. The tour guides apparently are well versed in the house's rich ghost history and are happy to share their knowledge with the visitors if you're brave enough to take a tour.
Be careful. They may have a voice say, "Get out."
There you go. All right. Now, case number 3. This is in Allentown, New Jersey. The Imlay Mansion. He was a former, James Henderson Imlay was a former congressman and a New Jersey assemblyman who had this house constructed back in 1790. It's been around for a couple hundred years. It took the The upstairs bedrooms became a refugee for slaves before and after the Civil War. So the house has a rich history of, a lot of things going on there. The TV crews visited the home to film a commercial, and reportedly objects began flying off the shelves and someone began hiding items.
Oh,
that
wow.
was from a TV crew. And again, this is from the online, reported from the online sites. Another occasion, a student in a shop heard a noise coming from the fireplace. She took a fireplace poker to poke at it, and apparently the something tugged back, and then
wow.
And then apparently the story has it that after that she was so frightened that she quit her job. I think I would too. That was. And then another interesting fact about this house was it was purchased by Stanley Close, bought the home in the 1980s, and I guess there's a lot of nooks and crannies in the house, and apparently he discovered that the upstairs was served as a local hospital operating room from the 1929 to 1952. Wow. So there's a lot of things. I guess the house is huge and has a lot of history, a lot of different uses, and a lot of things going on. So there are some spirits that still haven't made their way out yet.
Yep, absolutely.
So yeah, that's I have another one. This is in North Jersey, Ho-Ho-Kus. It's called the Hermitage. It's a National Historic Landmark Museum. Again, this is from the NewJersey.com online. This was a historic house. George Washington and his troops stayed in the house during the Revolutionary War in 1778. Then it was Elijah Rosencrantz, a doctor, bought the mansion in 1807, and they did a complete overhaul of it. Now, this is kind of ironic then, I guess, in like what happens with a lot of these homes, unfortunately, is through the years it fell into disrepair. So in the 1970s, the officials of the Historic Society were deciding whether to demolish it or to renovate it. And lo and behold, the story has it when they were there that a ghostly figure appeared in a long skirt and appeared to be carrying a baby.
Wow.
So they saw a sighting of it, yeah. Other instances show that a sound of a piano could be heard inside the house sometimes with nobody.
At least the friendly ghosts know how to play piano.
Right. And then they I guess over the years they've done seances, and apparently they had a metronome, and apparently the metronome began moving on its own during the seance.
Wow. I have another personal experience,
spooky,
right? Personal experience, but it's not in New Jersey. In fact, it's in Australia, Melbourne. So I used to work in five-star hotel in Melbourne as a night auditor. As an auditor job is quite boring. You just balance the book, right? You just sit in back office, balance the book. So just happened the night manager got a flu, so took a few days off. So the big boss and say, Jane, why don't you take off the duty for the next couple of days, and he come back. I said, sure, no problem. One of the night manager job is to, in the middle of the night, you go through the floor, just check, make everything is fine. That time you have a video camera. I'm talking about 30 plus years ago. Even you have a camera, but it's not as good as today. So you still have a manually, especially five-star hotel work around. So the first night, and I didn't know anything. I thought it was, five-star hotel, plenty people here, and plus it's like I didn't think anything different. So 1-2 o'clock I finished my balance the book, so went up for a walk. I just feel the first floor was okay, it was lobby. Second floor was a banquet, it was okay. Third floor was okay. When I go up the fourth floor, because you go up the stairs and then you walk and then you go up the stairs, rather use the elevator. So I was on the 4th, 5th floor. I just feel someone follow me. Literally, I was so worried because it's 1-2 o'clock in the morning. So, but that night, luckily, the house was rather full. So the whole hotel was rather full. So I know if anything happened, if I scream, and the whole floor will hear me. So I wasn't worried about my safety, but I feel someone behind me. That's weird. So I was really worried. So, the further I go up the steps, the more intense. I was really scared by then. So I came down. I didn't want to say anything. That first night I was acting night manager. I didn't want to say anything. People laugh at me. So I say nothing. And the second night, I was so afraid to go up. So I called a room service guy. I said, why don't we go together, check the room service trays, right? So we went together, we're talking, but I still feel that feeling. I still feel it. So long story short, I was praying the night manager come back as soon as possible, but he did. When he came back, I pulled him aside. I said, "Hey, can I tell you something? Please don't laugh at me." So I told him the story. He said, "Yeah. You didn't know that? They have a ghost in the hotel." I said, "What?" He told me the story about the ghost story. He said, "Many people know that." He said, "Yeah, everybody knew, and we would not."
That is really wild. That means you experience, without knowing
Yeah.
the ghost history, you experienced something on the 5th floor that you had no prior knowledge of any ghosts, and you just it wasn't on your mind that to be cognizant of a ghost. You were just totally doing your job, walking up and down the different flights, doing the monitoring, and then when you got to the 5th floor, it just came in your mind. You weren't
not only 5th floor, the 3rd floor, you start feeling something, but not much. You think, well, 4th floor, you feel someone following. The 5th floor, you just feel the higher you go, the more close. Apparently, she died in the attic, the top. So that's why the further you close to the top, the more tense it was. So I mean, it's not only me. There are quite a few people have that similar feeling. So there's, right or wrong, that's people believe there's a ghost.
Right. Well, I had a similar situation with I guess you could call it a spirit or something. Remember, in my mom's place, she had the china cabinet, and it was a china cabinet that her and my dad had for many years. And then after my dad passed, she held on to it. And, about a few weeks before my mom ended up passing away, one day there was a light that went on inside the upper part of the china cabinet. And my mom said it went on in the middle of the night when she was sleeping, and she couldn't figure out, why it went on or how it went on. And it took me a while to figure out where the switch was. And the switch, I found out, was in this place that was very hard to reach, and you had to be much taller than my mom to get to. So we had no idea why it went on. And then as the situation goes, a few weeks thereafter, my mom passed away. And then that was something that we thought might have been a sign, a sign of what was to come. Yeah. So it's something. So everybody has these stories in life where there's certain things that you can't describe that are inexplicable, whether it's a ghost, a spirit, or just something, a coincidence, or some electrical phenomenon. That's subjective and up to everybody's individual belief. But these things do happen, and
it's really up to individual. That's why I remember when after Dad passed away, you and I went to Lisa Williams' show in Pennsylvania. Right after we came out, she was outside to greet everyone who's leaving.
Sure.
So you and I, it's our turn. So I asked her. I said, "Would you mind just sign an autograph for my mother?" And she looked at me. She said, "Your mother or his mother?"
Meaning my mom.
Yeah. I said, "Oh yeah, yes, his mother, my mother-in-law." And she turned around. She wrote something, "Be strong."
Right.
I mean, so that's really
right. So she could sense.
Yeah, she can sense. That's why she
from her. Yeah.
Yes. But my father passed away too. If I say my mom, she's gone to relax.
Relax, chill. Your mom could chill down. She's got too much fire, too much in her. Yeah. She could definitely chill. So these are just. So whatever you make of these are. But there are, like we covered a little bit, there are these companies that are paranormal investigators or ghostbusters, as we commonly know them, that go around that are hired to go in with their whatever devices they use and monitor and check for ghosts.
A lot of time, Ken, it's a different culture, sure. Have a different, in our culture, in Asian culture, we believe in ghosts. And then even in Catholic culture, we believe in too, a Holy Ghost, right? We believe in spirit. There's a spirit. And there is, it's unexplainable. So it's really up to each individual how you make out of it, right? So sometimes it's just like certain things happened. As an agent, some house I go in, I feel really loving and comfortable, and some house I go in, I just feel the chill on my back spine. It's happened. It's just hard to explain. It's just, obviously, if you want to know the more, you have to ask the people who have that ability, right, to help you. But just for me, sometimes, some house I go, I do feel something.
There's something there,
so,
yeah.
Yes, I do feel something. So that's really, that's
That sums it up. Yeah. Well, let's hope it's a good spirit, and
hopefully everybody have a wonderful Halloween.
Yep.
And a lot of candies, good candies.
Enjoy the show and stay in good spirits, and we'll see you next week.
Maybe visit all these places if you can.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank
Bye
you.
now.
Bye.